We are doing the Gorgon's head.
Me? I'm Natasha and I'm playing Athena.
I am Mary and I'm playing Maya and Enyo.
I am Tristan and I'm playing Polyadectus.
I'm Josh and I'm playing Medusa.
I'm Boss and I am Perseus.
This is the story of the king's attempt to marry the woman of his choice, but against her wishes and those of her son. This king was Polydectes, the king of Seraphos. He wanted to marry Danae, who lived in his palace, and was the mother of Perseus, one of his soldiers. Polydectes got his own way through trickery. He pretended he wanted to marry Hippodameia, the daughter of a friend, and on the wedding day accused Perseus of being too lazy to be able to afford a decent wedding present for him. Perseus responded angrily, promising Polydectes anything you want, to which Polydectes replied the Gorgon's head, believing the step to be a mission, so freeing himself to marry Danae. The three sisters, Athena, Eurie, and Medusa, had been turned into Gorgons, or monsters with snakes instead of hair, as punishment by Athena after Medusa slept with Poseidon in her temple. Medusa was only a mortal sister, but she, like her sister, had one fearsome weapon. Just one look at her and he turned to stone. Luckily for Perseus, he had a goddess Athena to help him. She told him that he would have to find out where Medusa lived from the Grey Ones, called Enyo, Pemphiredo, and Dinah, the three sisters of the Gorgons who lived in a nearby swamp. Athena also gave Perseus a sword to strike off Medusa's head and shield, in the reflection of which he would see Medusa without looking directly at her. Perseus returned to the court of Polydectes 1 year later, having learned from the fisherman Dictys, who had discovered Perseus and his mother washed up in a river many years ago, that Danae had been punished for spurning the king's advances and being made a washerwoman. Perseus showed Polydectes the head of Medusa that he had pulled from his sack. Polydectes promptly turned to stone. Perseus sold Dictys to the king of the island, and himself became king of Mycenae, giving the Gorgon's head to Athena to decorate her battle armor.
Woman, nothing but trouble.
I'd be careful what you say. If I were you, I think we are a bit outnumbered today.
Correct. I would use some here today to represent my two immortal Gorgon sisters, Desno and Eurydice. Shame I wasn't.
Well, don't go expecting any sympathy from me. Messing around in my temple without Poseidon, you deserve what you got. Beauty is only for those who deserve it, and you certainly don't.
And you made sure no one would look twice in our direction.
With all those snakes for hair, I'd say not.
Plus that other one small detail that once someone did look in their direction, they couldn't make the same mistake again. They couldn't.
A nasty trick, and one on which some of us came a cropper.
And what about us Grey Ones? Myself and you, plus Fredo and Dino, another Fredo rifle sisters.
So that makes 6 altogether. Funny, but there were only ever 2 ugly sisters in the fairy tales I read.
Have you ever heard of the safety numbers? Though I guess it didn't help me much in the end.
Or me, or those around me. Just one look at Medusa's head and it will all turn to stone.
Serves you right. You were quite happy sending my son off to face that weary fate, only he was too smart.
Not true. He did have just a little help from me.
Oh, I was very grateful.
Yes, Medusa's head looks a lot better through my armor than attached to her own body.
Oh, that's a matter of opinion.
Anyway, ladies, I think we must all agree I carried out a truly brave deed.
I don't remember you having much choice. Fancy arriving at a royal wedding without a decent present.
And fancy offering and giving him anything. Son, what were you thinking? Polydectes was no fool. He realized by sending you off on that impossible errand, he would be free off to pester me.
Well, how was I supposed to know? I certainly wouldn't have left you if I'd known. Those were his intentions.
never mind. Luckily for you, I was around.
Just my luck. He'd never have even found the Gorgon sisters if Athena hadn't told him where to start looking.
That's true enough.
And to think me and my sisters might have missed out on that treat.
And don't miss out on all the fun we had together.
Huh, speak for yourself. It nearly drove us crazy trying to find all Miss Lion.
Well, I did try asking for directions from you first, but when you refused to help, I had no choice but to steal from you.
Horrible! No wonder we were so suspicious of strangers. It was never easy having to share one eye and one tooth between the three of us, and then you came along and made it even harder.
Still, at last, I then got from you what I really needed.
And it doesn't mean your iron tooth.
No, he found out he had to go to the land of Hyborians to find the Gorgons.
What a relief to move on from that marsh and those 3 old hags.
Just swapping one set of the old hags for another. I'd say charming, I'm sure.
Alright, so there you let all those snakes for hair. Just as well, I gave him a sword to cut through Medusa's neck and...
Most importantly for him, a shield. A shield? How did that help him against my monstrous sisters?
Excuse me, is that the way you refer to your darling sisters? Perhaps you too should get to know how it feels to be a statue.
No offense intended, my fair sister, an unfortunate slip of the tongue. What I meant to say was...
Yes, yes. You gray ones, always squabbling. No wonder you were always falling out with each other.
Just as well as you didn't come near your other sisters, that's now and you're in it. And I had a real way of making people feel at home.
A funny kind of welcome, turning people to stone.
But only if they look me in the eye.
And that was where the shield came in handy.
Yes, a neat trick. That's using its reflection to see Medusa without having to look at her directly.
Neat trick indeed.
But the best was to come.
Here we go. I could hear this coming a mile off.
Served you right. Just because I spurned your attentions, how could you think I could fall for a fat old man like you?
Don't beat the bush about this one.
Well, we're nearing the end of the story now.
That's right. She never had dared speak to me like that before.
Well, not after you made her a lonely washerman.
Still, you got your revenge turning Polydecus and the whole court into statues. Now that was a neat trick.
They got what they deserved, as did our friend Dictius, who told me on my return what had happened to my mum.
That was a noble gesture, making him king of the island.
And I became king of my country, so I didn't do so badly.
And here I am, stuck in front of this suit of armor.
The puzzles are mine, so farewell, fair folk, and don't go staring at any strangers.